Right side. Good morning, Gate City. Good morning. Hope everyone had a good Easter holiday, good Passover, good Friday. It finally got warm. I don't think it's going to snow anymore. I'm not sure. I thought Ralph would be here. Somebody with the last name that starts with R has the invocation. Ralph usually tells me.
See?
Dr. Reynolds. There we go. All right. Ralph never fails me.
All right, everybody, full bow, please. Dear Heavenly Father, bless this gathering of fellow Rotarians today. Please help us to see those in need and give us the strength and the wisdom to serve our community as we should. Help us to lift the burdens of others while we maintain the dignity of all humankind. Soften our hearts to be sensitive and loving as we serve together as Rotarians. Thank you for this day, this food, and this time together. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Other things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Well, it's kind of apropos, I guess, to have some younger people here today in the morning. But most of you know that I have 4 small children still, and most of my Rotary moments involve that. Well, yeah, they just keep.
You haven't lost any of them.
So most of my Rotary moments involve them, whether the boys being out at Camp Carefree and helping, or most of my favorite moments are when they put on the little orange vest and we clean up Westover Terrace out there with Pete, and they love having the sticks and trying not to make sure they stab anybody's foot. That's it. Yeah, I appreciate those.
They're always there. Thank you, Dr. Mark. Sergeant at Arms, who we have? Glenn?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we got a total of, actually, we got no visiting Rotarians, but we have 3 guests. One is a guest of Tom Richardson, which is Girl Scout Troop 40167, standing in back. And then Dan Quinn brought a guest, Will Thacker. Good to have you here.
Will's with Craft Insurance here in town.
Okay. And that's it.
Thank you, Glenn. Got a lot of things with youth this morning, and we have a special announcement. Ben Bracken is going to tell us what's going on with all these lovely young ladies in the room.
I'd just like to introduce the Troop 40167. Tommy's daughter, Meredith, is going to be speaking to us this morning about a very important project these ladies are working on. So let them go ahead.
All right, I'm Vanessa Skeens. I'm the leader of this Girl Scout troop. Our troop number is 40167. They've all been together since kindergarten or 1st grade, so finishing up our 9th year. And what we're working on right now is our Silver Award project. And it's a 50-hour project for each girl, and we're doing child care and raising donations for Mary's House in town, and Meredith's going to say more about Mary's House and what we're looking for. But I'd like you to meet Girl Scout Troop 40167. They're going to all introduce themselves right now.
I'm Taylor Love. I'm in the 8th grade. I go to Kaiser Middle, and I plan to go to Hempstead High School.
I'm Paige Bateman. I am currently in the 8th grade. I go to Kaiser Middle School, and I am going to go to Grimsley.
I'm Alex Little. I'm in the 8th grade, and I go to Kaiser Middle School.
I'm Allison Skeens. I'm in the 8th grade, and I go to Kaiser, and I'm planning on going to Grimsley High School.
And then we have one member that's not here, and that's Edie Ward, and she goes to Lincoln. She's in the 8th grade, and she's going to Grimsley next year. And I'm Meredith Richardson. I go to Caldwell, and I'm going to Caldwell next year. Our Silver Award project will benefit Mary's House with the collection of personal hygiene and household cleaning items for the residents. Mary's House, named for Mary Magdalene, is a faith-based ministry located in Greensboro. Mary's House provides transitional and permanent housing, life skills, training in supportive community for homeless women and recovery from substance abuse. This program is one of the few in the United States that allows women to raise their children while in treatment for addiction issues. 70% of Mary's House graduates maintain their sobriety for at least 1 year following graduation. The national average for this 1 year hallmark is 15 to 20%. There are currently 4 families with a total of 4 children living in Mary's House. There are 3 boys ages 4 months to 6 years and 1 girl aged 7. The house has capacity for 8 families and a new one could arrive any day. Something with nothing more than clothes they are wearing. We've been given permission to set up and monitor collection boxes for needed items at your meetings on May 1st and 8th from 6:30 to 7:15 near the Rotary meeting registration desk. Please consider contributing items or making a cash contribution. A list of items needed by Mary's House has been placed on your tables at each seat. Checks can be made to Mary's House. My dad will post a reminder on the Gate City Rotary website, and he will send reminder emails as well. Thank you.
I would just like to say, I'm Debbie Little, I'm the assistant troop leader. There was a couple of big wish items, so I'd like to just throw them out there. They could use a generator for backup power when the power is out, and some new flooring. So keep these things in mind while you're thinking of donating. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Mike, sure.
You know, our law firm has some parking lots by the ballpark. Another way you can help us, Troop 40167 is one of 3 or 4 groups that parks cars there. So if you see Girl Scouts out there, if you're going to the Grasshoppers meeting, and you see the Girl Scouts out there, park there because that'll help their troop too.
That's exactly
So,
right.
I encourage your friends to do that too. So.
Where's which parking lot is that?
It's the ones that are diagonal from where home plate is. It's the southwest corner of Belmead and Edgeworth.
Okay.
So Tristan's Quest is to the right. You want to wave to them, be nice to them, but you want to take a left into the parking lot there. Boy Scout troop. It's this Girl Scout troop, a Boy Scout troop or 2, and then also an animal rescue group. So you can help them out that way
There'll be the cute ones
too.
out there with the signs.
That's a great tip. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm sure we can, over the next 2 weeks, and Tommy, you'll send the reminders, and we can probably, you might need a truck to pull it all the way from here, I hope.
Thank you.
Great work. Thank you for coming. Other announcements. Last week, Buster made the announcement about the Gate City grants. So any of you that have worthy causes that you need funding to pass the esteemed President's Committee.
You better get it in quick. We already have 3 requests each for more than we have to give away. So.
It's going fast. Buster, what's the deadline on that?
May 15th.
May 15th.
It's a hard deadline. It's on May 15th at midnight. If it is not postmarked,
Buster will stay up till midnight.
I will monitor all mailboxes in the city until midnight.
Hermetically sealed.
Hermetically.
So is that midnight on the 16th or 11:59 on the 15th?
Yes.
All right.
Just curious.
I have an announcement from Mitzi Ellis, one of our past district governors, on May 22nd, Thursday, May 22nd. You know, they kick off the beach music every Thursday night through the summer. And on the 22nd is Rotary Night at Festival Park, and all proceeds will benefit the Children's Home Society. They're going to have a special section and some food and so on for Rotarians. I'll send this in an email, but that would be a great night to kick off the beach music and share some socializing with fellow Rotarians. It's $7, and all the proceeds go to Children's Home Society. Any other announcements?
Right.
Danny?
Yeah, we got 22 days counting down until we go out to work on Camp Carefree, and I'm going to go out this morning and recon how much is going to be required to get done. So save that weekend, May 16th, 17th, Friday, Saturday, and I'll send something out more firm on what we need, what the responsibilities we have for the project is.
All right, thank you, Dan. Okay, anything else? Kevin, how about some birthdays, anniversaries?
We've got quite a few this week. On the 25th was Ben Bracken's birthday.
Right.
On the 26th was Lawrence Mann. And then coming up on the 30th, we've got Marley Foster. Now for Rotary anniversaries, this person's coming up on their first anniversary is Rachel for her first year. Wedding anniversaries, I've got 2. On the 22nd was Dennis and Marcia Newman. And then on the 27th is Mike and Joanne Slane. And they, Mike and Joanne have been married for 29 years, and Dennis and Marcia was 9.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Happy dollars! All right!
What we all came for.
Oh, yeah, okay.
First, happy post-holiday week, everyone. I'm sending a happy dollar out because I survived a road trip with both my parents to Columbus, Ohio. Had a great family weekend and made it back alive. So, and the second one is today is Poetry in Your Pocket Day. So everyone grab a poem, put it in your pocket today. It's National Poetry Month. I brought 2, and I'll leave them on the table. I'll really, you guys can find them.
Jim.
Well, last Thursday, I had a cultural experience. I attended a Passover Seder that was run by George Shear down at Elsewhere. It was a very interesting experience. Of course, it marks the escape of the Jews from Egypt. And we all got to participate, so I was really happy in my part to participate. I was able to pronounce Afikon correctly. Dale will know what I mean by that.
I had one too. I went to IHOP.
I just have to say thank you for all of the outpouring of love with the passing of my father. My phone lit up, it was actually it was a month ago today that Dad passed, and my phone lit up. You guys just had the thing chiming for about 3 hours with Rotarians checking in and just offering anything and everything. And I can't thank you enough. It meant so much. It meant so much to my mom. She said, "Who is calling?" I said, "It's just the Rotary Club." It was awesome. I followed just a sense of urgency on the Sunday night before my dad passed. I just felt like I needed to be there, although we didn't have any sign that anything was going to happen. And actually drove it with my wife all night, and we were able to spend the last 24 hours with my dad. And I have to say, being at my father's bedside when he passed was one of the most awesome moments of my entire life. He was such a great guy. But you made that whole experience just a little bit richer for the friendship and for the kindness. And if anyone ever has anything bad to say about Rotarians, they'll have to wrestle with me, I guess. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I got 5. I've had a great week. Thanks to everybody that held the sign up last week. I can't remember how many posts we had, but we had the golf tournament yesterday. Hal came out and played for us. The net last night would cost $30,000 for a golf tournament. So thank you all. That was a really great campaign. It will fund our group of girls that we started all the way through their first year of college, and they're just in the 7th grade right now. So well done to you guys. The rest of my week, Katie got inducted to the Honor Society, but the thing I was most proud of is she said, I won a grant. I said, what do you mean win a grant? She wrote on her own a grant to start a food backpack program at the newcomer school. I had no idea. She did it on her own, and she wrote it and won it and started a backpack program on her own. So I was real proud of her.
My oldest daughter, Chelsea, who has been using her Davidson College education very well at Starbucks, was accepted into UNCG's Masters of Creative Writing program. There were 200 applicants. They accepted 12. And what part of the program is, what Beth sort of reminded me of it with the poetry, they accept 6 students who for fiction and 6 for poetry, and at the end of the 2 years you basically write a novel, and during the fiction write a novel, and they help you edit it and work it out every 2 years, and then they help you find a publisher. And I said, are you going to write about me? And she said, I'm not going to write about you, but you may not like it, so I'll let you know in 2 years how this comes out. Tom.
Dr. Reynolds speaking today, and his prayer just reminded me he was the answer to a couple of years of prayer to take over my practice, and it was fantastic, and that was my life and my career, and I thank you.
How many people here remember going to Myrtle Beach for spring break?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember much of it.
Because my dad took me and some guys down when I was in high school. I was tapped by my youngest son, Wilder, to take he and 4 of his buddies down. And we did. There was only one arrest, and with 8 hours of class work and 20 hours of community service, he would be able to erase. And it was not Wilder, by the way. He would be able to erase the. It would have been. That would have been. There was no alcohol or anything like that involved where I was, but unfortunately, this young man thought he could take a 5th of Jack Daniels, hide in a backpack, and parade around pouring drinks for people. And the police saw that and they didn't like it. So anyway, but his dad will clear all that up. They'll work all that out. And then the other thing is while Wilder was avoiding being arrested in that melee down there, he was inducted to the National Honor Society. So.
I only have $1 a day, but that's for my bride who, after 18 hours, gave birth to our beautiful baby son last Monday. So.
So I this morning woke up at 3 in the morning and rolled over, checked the obituaries. My name wasn't there, so I went ahead and got up. But no, actually this morning I woke up at 3, got my son up, and got dressed, took him to the airport for his very first solo tour, but on his way to St. Louis this morning for the championships of robotics. And the team is going to be here speaking next week, so hopefully we'll have some bling and everything, but it'll be a great time, especially if you have like any young students or kids or anything that would be good to bring to that. It's going to be a really fun speaking next week. They're going to hopefully have the robot here for a demo and everything, so make sure to be here. Tell everybody else to be here, and it's going to be good.
Don't be here.
Except for
proximity.
right. See, I politely opened that up so that you could remind everybody.
Yeah,
Proximity next week.
We'll be over at the proximity next week, just for that week, since they didn't have any space here. But yeah, ideally we'll have the robot, and it will just be super cool, and you'll all want to be there.
Unless a catastrophe happens at the championships, it should be good.
Well, I talk about Grandpappy a lot. I don't talk about Grandma Lewis much, but one night Grandma was at home by herself, and she heard a burglar breaking in the house, and so she yelled out, "Acts 2:38, repent and be baptized for the forgiveness of your sins." And the guy came out and gave up immediately, and Grandma called the police, and while the police were handcuffing the guy, they said, "You know, you gave up pretty easily on that." He said, Well, she said she had an axe and 238.
Very good. Very good. All right. Emily, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our speaker.
Alright, so our speaker today is Pete Polonsky. So Pete has served as executive director of Greensboro United Soccer Association since June of 2011. Prior to that, he served in the same capacity at the Twin Cities Soccer Association in Winston-Salem, where he was responsible for developing the BB&T Soccer Park. So if any of you all have any kids in youth soccer, it's a beautiful facility over there that Pete led that fundraising and building effort over there, so quite impressive. Pete's involvement in soccer began as a youth and continued in college, where he played 4 years while attending the University of Virginia. After graduating, Pete played briefly with a professional soccer team before embarking on a more traditional career with IBM in Dallas. After more than 11 years with IBM, Pete left to start his own internet marketing business, which he sold 7 years later when he relocated his family to the Triad area. When his kids got started playing youth soccer, Pete found himself drawn into the soccer world, and before he knew it, he was raising money and building and running soccer associations, where we find him today. So he'll talk to us today about Greensboro Soccer Association and some of their efforts in the community. So.
While that's happening, I appreciate being able to speak to you guys today, guys and gals. I was in the Dallas Rotary for about 18 years, so I'm familiar with the environment. And I know we used to have a lot of good speakers. I know you guys have a lot of very good speakers, and all I can promise you is at the end of the day, I will have been one of your speakers. I worked for IBM for a while, so I should be able to figure this out.
So some magic.
Make my thumb come on.
Try hitting the paper. He's tried hitting the paper.
You know about that stuff? There we go.
Juggle. Go get an apple to one.
My kid said you should have a Mac, Dad. Who knows how to get Lexi all the way up? Okay. Inclusion, thank you for your time. So, this is my third career, as you heard in my brief bio. This is one where I really get to enjoy. I love talking about the the association. First of all, how many people out there are either current or former soccer moms or dads or grandparents with Greensboro? Good. That's good to hear. I'm glad you guys are doing that. I believe in our mission, and we're a lot more than just about trying to win state cup tournaments. It may surprise some of you, we've been around for 36 years now. We are in that 36 years we've evolved from, in 78 it was just a loose coalition of teams, and each team kind of ran itself, to now we're a 501c3 organization. We have a full-time staff of 13 people. We have a board of directors that is very actively involved. We are the second largest soccer organization in the state of North Carolina, 4,500 players and coaches. The biggest being Raleigh, they have about twice that. They're just very, very large there. We have all levels of play. We go from cradle to grave just about. We actually have I think we have a 75-year-old playing in our adult league. So we do just about every level, recreation, travel. There's a new term called elite travel now, which is for the parents and kids that are really crazy, that want to travel every weekend to far corners of the country to try to chase the elusive college scholarship, which many of our athletes are able to get. We have the semi-pro team called the Carolina Dynamo, which I hope you've heard of. Adult, we have a special needs program. This is where we are all over town. We have quite a few facilities. Some of those facilities are used a lot more than others. Primarily we're using, on a daily basis, we use this facility down here, which used to be called Smith Soccer Complex because it's at Smith High School behind the Four Seasons Mall. But we were excited to just sign a sponsorship agreement with Crown Automotive Group, and now it's going to be called the Crown Soccer Complex. We're very excited about that. Up at the top, Bryant Park is the crown jewel, and it's been one of the top soccer facilities really in the East Coast for the past 25 years. I remember when I first moved to Winston-Salem 11 years ago, and I had just gotten into coaching youth soccer. The first time I got to go to Bryant Park, I thought I was in heaven. So from then on, it was whatever we can do to get into a tournament at Bryant Park, because the facilities are so outstanding. The grass is like a golf course, and we're very fortunate to have that. The city owns it. We're the tenant. We have a long-term lease with it. Our ticket for using that, or our price of admission, is all the business that we bring to town through our tournaments. When I took the job 3 years ago, I met with a lot of the city leaders, such as the CVB president, the sports commission, the Bryant Foundation, and Mr. Melvin. I told him that Bryant Park has been one of the top facilities in the country for years. However, and I was just being honest, I said, however, in the last 5 years, within a 5-hour radius of where we are, there's been over $90 million of investment in youth soccer facilities. So we're not the only game in town there. So we need to continue to reinvest in it. And to their credit, they have rolled up their sleeves and helped us in the past year and a half. We've invested about $1 million at Bryant Park, and it's through funding from the Bryant Foundation, from the city, Parks and Rec, Sports Commission, CVB, from ourselves, from some fundraising we've done. Because we need to bring that facility back up to the state where it's competing with some of the top facilities in Virginia, for example, has some unbelievable facilities. Georgia has some unbelievable facilities. And I'll show you in a minute why that's important. A lot of people, when you think about a sports organization, you think about successes on the field. We do have successes on the field. We talked about those as well. Last year we were named one of the top 30 boys clubs in the country, and that's out of about 3,000 clubs. There's a ton of soccer organizations like ours around. In North Carolina alone, there's about 60. We get periodically and frequently we get coaches named Coaches of the Year. Last year, actually in the fall, we had one that was named state and regional, and our region is 10 states. It goes from Texas to North Carolina. We're at the eastern region, so we had a coach named for the top coach for that whole region, and he's currently a finalist for the whole country. And we always get some statewide coach of the year winners. Last year we had our U18 boys team, which is typically high school seniors. They finished third in the country, which is quite an accomplishment. 2 years ago, and those of you that have been here for a couple of years, you probably saw that we got some pretty good press on this. Our U15 girls team, those girls are presently high school juniors. They won the national championship, so that was very exciting. They went out to Texas and won that. That was very exciting. But the last bullet is something I'm going to highlight. Well, I want to also point out it's not the most important thing that we do as a club, but for the kids that choose to go to the highest level in our organization and they seek to play at the highest level, they have a lot of success in winning college scholarships. This past year alone, if you try to, we don't know the exact number because every college fees are different, but approximately $100,000 for 4 years of college now is actually on the low end. Our players won over $1 million worth of athletic scholarships last year alone. So that's quite an accomplishment. This is, for many of you, might be more important. And for me, it's very important because this is, as I said earlier, this is one of the reasons why we have such a great facility like Bryant Park. We host a ton of events at Bryant Park. State championships, high school showcases, college showcases, college conference championships, national championships. In fact, all those things we've done in the past 6 months. And in the next 2 months, we will host a national championship, state championships, a high school showcase this weekend, and 3 weeks ago we hosted a college showcase. So we are very busy at Bryant Park. And those are the type of events that are very impactful to our economy. We're one of the only clubs, we are the only club in the country, and it's because the leaders and the Bryant Foundation had strong vision way back in the 80s when they built Bryant Park. We are the only club that have hosted 4 regional events, and the regionals are huge events. So that's where you have, in our region, 10 states send all their top 4 teams at all age groups to come here and play the Final Four basically and come up with regional champions who then progress to the national championship. This figure on the last bullet comes actually from the CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, that we have over a $20 million economic impact annually to the economy. And that's obvious from all the teams that come to play here. They stay in hotels, they eat at the restaurants, they spend money, and it amounts to a pretty significant number. That number can go up, and that number will go up if we're successful in doing a few of the things that we're hoping to do. 16 events this year, it's a lot. That's, quick math, that's almost every third weekend we're doing something. And in fact, in the month of May, we have an event at Bryant Park every weekend, so my wife's not real thrilled about that. That's what Bryant Park looks like now. And we've got some of the additions that we've added in the past year and a half. We added an addition to our main building, which we added a big conference room so we can have, when we have some of our tournaments, we have coaches recruiting seminars for the parents to come in and learn what it's about to get recruited and what you have to do. We added new locker rooms where the stadium is. The stadium with Neil McPherson built the stadium about 12 years ago before he left and went down to Florida to retire. But when they were building it, construction costs went up a little higher than they expected, and they were only able to complete 1 locker room. So that's made it challenging. When we have some of these college events, they come in and it's kind of a running joke. The winning team gets to shower, the losing team doesn't. So we were able to convince the city to help us and just build 3 more locker rooms. So now we have a fully functioning facility in the stadium, which makes it a lot easier to recruit some of these collegiate events. We just had a ACC event at the end of March where we had 7 ACC men's teams come, and we had 8 non-ACC teams like Elon, High Point, UNC Greensboro, teams like that. They came and played a spring-friendly event. That's Bryant Park at night during a Dynamo game. I hope you guys periodically come to the Dynamo games. If you don't know what the Dynamo is, think about Major League Baseball. We have single A, double A, and triple A. The Dynamo participate in a league that would be the equivalent of single A. So they're amateur status, but it's a very high level. It's basically the highest, the best collegiate players in this region. So this year on the Dynamo, we have players from UNC Chapel Hill, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, UNC Greensboro, High Point, Elon. We have somebody from University of South Carolina. It's an outstanding level of soccer. It's a great environment out at Bryant Park. We actually have, our concessionaire actually has the ability to sell cold beverages for the adult, so you can come out there and enjoy that. And we're anticipating this year, we really are bumping up our partnership, the club's partnership with the Dynamo, and every one of our players will get a season ticket this year, so we think it's going to really be a real vibrant environment. This is, to me, more important to what we do in the community. Economic impact is huge. Helping our kids that want to go to the next level is big, but this is even bigger. It's giving back to the community. And since I've been there in the last 3 years, we've given out over $250,000 in financial aid to players that cannot afford the high cost of youth soccer. And it's not just youth soccer. If you've got kids or grandkids that do travel baseball or cheerleading or gymnastics, you know it's all very expensive. And a lot of it's because of the travel costs. But quite frankly, some of the other expenses are our facilities. When we have a tournament, for example, we have a tournament called the Wrangler McDonald's in 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the end of May. And that one event, we will, at the end of that day, end of that weekend, we will have spent over $40,000 in referee fees alone. So youth sports is not inexpensive. So there's a tremendous number of kids in our community that cannot afford it unless we provide significant financial aid. And we do that. And you know, my goal is to never not have a kid who wants to play, who's willing to play, because it's a commitment to be able to play. And it's not easy. So it's a significant amount of money that we commit to it. The second goal is very important to us, and that's very important to our board. We have one of the lowest fee structures in the state of North Carolina. I cannot speak to the rest of the country. It's hard to get that data. But I know what all the other fee structures are for clubs. And we are, without a doubt, comparing us to other light clubs like Raleigh, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, clubs that are significant size with significant resources, i.e. facilities. We are without a doubt the lowest fee. And we want to remain that way. I don't want to raise fees. And the only way we can do that is by continuing to, it's kind of a circle that we have. And I explain this to our city leaders so they understand why I ask them for money periodically. I said if we can have great facilities, i.e. Bryant Park, then we can bring in lots of tournaments because people want to come. Coaches want to bring their teams to great facilities. They come to the city. They spend a lot of money. It goes back into the city's coffers. You can allow us to have Bryant Park very, very cheap. I can afford to pay financial aid to a significant number of players. So it's a big circle, and we want to continue that circle going. Our coaches are great. They understand what's going on in our community. They understand there's still a lot of families that are struggling and they cannot afford it. We go out and we try to find kids in some of the schools that wouldn't ordinarily be playing soccer. The newcomer school, I heard someone mention they did something in the newcomer school. We have coaches that go there every week because if you don't know what the newcomer school is, it's a great story. But there's a lot of refugee immigrant kids that come there and they get assimilated into the mainstream there. Some of them don't speak English when they first get there, but when they get there, they may be in a year or 2 years. Our coaches go there knowing that a lot of these kids are coming from countries like Liberia, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, a lot of the African countries. And what do they know? Soccer. So we go there, we find a lot of kids who, some of these kids don't have families here. Some of them have a mom, some of them have an uncle or something that have brought them here. And we get them involved in our association. Of course, we know we're going to have to pay all their fees, but we want to do that because we know if we don't do that, and we've experienced the downside to having kids from an environment like that come in to our association and then leave for whatever reason and falling back into what we didn't want to be into and losing kids. We've seen that firsthand. We've had kids that were in 1 year, left the association, and then we're going to his funeral. So we don't want that. We want to get as many of these kids into the association because you can read the statistics everywhere. Kids that play organized sports, they stay in school, their grades are higher, they have a much better chance of going on for post-high school education, they just have a greater chance to have success. So we want to get as many of those kids into our organization as we can. So our coaches invest a significant amount of money. They go to all these schools. They just do free clinics. You know, they go to PE classes and they try to help these kids. Hey, come play in our organization. You don't have to be a great player because we have recreation all the way up through high school ages. We have very high level. So if some of these kids are very talented, a lot of them are going to come in. They're going to find a way to make it to a high level team and get an opportunity to go play in college. We just built a field. Spent about $25,000 at a school, church, Presbyterian Church of the Cross, which is in an area that struggles a bit. We just built the field. We just moved goals over there this week. We're going to start doing bi-monthly just pickup. So we're going to have a coach show up. The church is communicating out of the community. Show up on Saturday. We'll have free food, and we're going to have just organized. So we're not really organized, just pickup. So we hope that's going to get more kids aware of the sport, because a lot of kids in some of these communities don't know soccer. They know basketball, football. The more we get them introduced to it, the more we get them into our association. We have a high school showcase that's similar to the basketball one that you're probably familiar with. I think this year it's called the Timco. We have one that we started about 4 years ago, same concept. We have this year, this Saturday, Grimsley, Page, Caldwell, Day School, Wesleyan, Northwest Guilford. They come and they play a small tournament. All the proceeds, we charge a gate. It's at Bryant Park. All the proceeds go back to the schools. Schools, I know, being a high school coach, how our budgets are not good. So when we give these schools back, even if it's $400 or $500 for the program, they're very grateful for it. Plus the kids love it because they get to come play in a great environment. This is just a recent picture at the Newcomer School. So our coaches go there. Have a hard time picking out some of the coaches, but we've got 4 coaches there. We try to give the kids balls. We try to give them, we have programs where parents can come drop off their old cleats, because I know as a dad of 3 kids that play or have played, that at the end of the year I'll have 3 pairs of shoes because they outgrown something. So we collect a lot of that. We try to give it to these kids, because a pair of shoes can cost $200. It's ridiculous. We started a foundation 2 years ago, actually a year ago, but we're still waiting for the IRS to approve our 501c3 application. No comment.
Yeah, T in your name anywhere.
I've spent quite a few hours on the phone with them, actually on hold with them, trying to understand why. It's a pretty simple concept. It's a 501c3. We had an actual lawyer fill out the reams of paperwork, and I get letters back saying, "You got your paperwork." First of all, any IRS agents here?
They're not ethical enough to be in road.
You got your paperwork. You should hear from us within 9 months. And that was 6 months ago. So I get on the phone again. I actually got a body about a month ago, and the person said, gave me the case number. They looked it up and said, "Yes, I see it. And it looks like you got a favorable rating. You should get an approval letter within a month." That was 3 months ago. I got a letter a month after that saying, "That's 6 months." So it's just unbelievable. Anyway, the point of the slide is we create a foundation. The reason for that is I'm out in the community talking to, whether it's government leaders, business leaders, about what we're trying to do and trying to get more kids involved. And for us to be able to afford $100,000 a year to fund all these kids that need the funding, it's hard, because some businesses, when they look at us, Greensboro United Soccer Association, they think of soccer, which has traditionally been an upper middle class sport. So they're a little bit reticent to donate money to us for that, because they don't know where the money's going. So my idea, I went to the board and said, you know what, every time I talk to these businesses, they say, well, how do we know the money we're going to give you is going to go towards financial aid for these players? And that's a very good question, because it goes into our operational fund, and it may not. So we created this foundation. The sole purpose of the foundation is to provide financial support for our outreach efforts. Once that's approved, donations will be, tax deductible. Right now, they're not. So I just put this on the radar screen. We've got our foundation. It's in existence, it's not approved yet by the IRS, but it will be. Once it is, we're gonna do a lot of fundraising specifically for it, for those reasons. Not only to increase the second goal, increase financial support, which is important, but we have to educate our coaches. We have over 300 coaches in our organization, and coaching some of these kids that are coming out of the newcomer school who, I know a kid, this is a true story, came out of Liberia, he watched one of his parents get killed. Okay, so now he's got a whole new, our coaches need a perspective on how to work with kids like that. In fact, Emily works at the Center for Creative Leadership. We have a project going on there. The purpose of it is a leadership project so that we can, the leaders such as myself and some of my other directors, will be able to train our coaches to be able to better deal with the coaches that are directly dealing with some of the players that were impacted. And the third thing is more accessible fields in the communities. That first chart I showed you showed fields all over. That may look like there's fields all over, but there's still quite a few areas in town that if we don't have a field nearby their community, then these kids aren't going to be able to play because transportation is a huge issue. Foundation. So if I had to say, when I talk to my board and ask me what my goals are right now, one is to get the foundation in place so that we can start raising money specifically for it. The other two are these other two goals. To improve and increase our current facilities, Bryant Park being one of them. Even though we're a pretty significant economic engine in the city with 20+ million, that can go up to 10 million. And the reason it's not is because Bryant Park, as I mentioned earlier, needs some upgrading. We've been surpassed by some of the facilities around the region. I know for a fact there's one of the biggest events in the country, which is it's a 5-day event. Right now they're going to Dallas. It's about a $7 million event just on its own. They would come to Dallas, they'd come to Greensboro tomorrow if we had 3 more fields at Bryant Park. So that's a goal of ours, is to increase Bryant Park's capacity so we can put in some of these bigger events. More accessible community fields, and all in all, that's going to help us grow our tournament business, economic impact of the city. For a lot of you business leaders, your business will benefit from it. So I'm not here to ask for anything, I'm just here to educate you guys a little bit on who we are, so that when you're out there and down the road, if you do hear someone talking about Greensboro United, you know what we're up to. If someone calls on you and asks you to help support it, if you see a bond referendum coming that's going to support Bryant Park, you'll support it, because those things are all very, very possible down the road. I thank you for your time. Do I have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is the International League part of Greensboro United?
No, it's not. But they do use our facilities. Smith or Crown Soccer Complex, they play, there's several international leagues. We have the Hispanic League, we have a league that's got a lot of Africans. They both play at Smith, and then they play at another location as well. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Why is in America that so many people play soccer as young people, but it has never succeeded as a pro sport? Why is that in your?
That's a great question, because I started playing, I was a military brat, so I started playing in Germany, so I was fortunate when my dad retired in Virginia. I kept saying that. I said, hey, it's just a matter of time for guys, or my dad would say, it's just a matter of time for guys like you grow up, and then we're going to have all these fans. Well, the problem is, in America, soccer's like the 5th sport. So most of the professional sports succeed because of what? Television contracts. Football, baseball, basketball, NASCAR, hockey, they have big television contracts. Soccer now is actually succeeding. And we don't see it in our market, but if you go to Seattle, if you go to Los Angeles, I think there are 19 or 20 professional teams now in the country. My college coach actually coaches the LA team. Portland, we just had a coach who went to Portland. They are selling out their stadium, 30,000 every game now. They have waiting lists. It's taken a long time. We don't see it here because we don't have a team in our market. They just announced a team in Atlanta. They just announced a team. We're getting ready to announce a team in Miami. They just announced in Orlando. I'd say it's succeeding. And the good thing about it is the owners are making money. And what the NFL owners have figured out now is that they can use their facilities they can use them both for soccer and football. They just have to reconfigure them a little bit, and they can actually make money because the players' salaries aren't crazy like they are in the other sports. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you've got a big-time player like David Beckham, which you've all heard of, he's making multiple millions of dollars when he was playing here. But when you have some of the top collegiate players that are going out and playing now, you know, I remember when I was coming out, I wanted to play professionally. I would have played for nothing. But these guys are coming out now, and they're playing, they're making $80,000, $90,000 a year, which is a nice salary for a young professional. They're not LeBron James, of course, but they're loving it, and their salary wages are growing. But I think they've got a model in place where they're not going to go bankrupt. I was sorry, long answer. All right, thank you for your time.
I know personally our daughter played all the way through senior year of high school. It's a great program, spent a lot of weekends, and it's a lot of fun. It's excellent. We do have a great gift with the facility here in town. We're going to donate a book in your honor to County Elementary, Charlie at the Zoo, Rotary Club. And Pete, if you would, please draw and read the last three numbers on the ticket there. Don't forget the cart fund buckets on your table.
555.
555.
Yeah.
Tony, have a great day.